Imagine inheriting a sprawling vineyard that's fed your family for generations, only to have some clipboard-wielding busybody from the HOA declare war on your roots, literally. But what if that smug enforcer of community standards was secretly lining her pockets with stolen dues? And her downfall came crashing down in a spectacle of lies, laughter, and long overdue cuffs? The sun hung low over Willow Creek estates, casting golden hues on manicured lawns that screamed suburbia perfection. But tucked at the edge, where the pavement gave way to gravel and vines twisted like ancient guardians, stood my grandfather's legacy, a 50-acre vineyard that had outlasted depressions, droughts, and now, apparently, nosy neighbors. I was out there that crisp autumn morning, shears in hand, snipping away at overgrown tendrils, the air thick with the earthy tang of ripening grapes. That's when Karen appeared, striding up like she owned the horizon, her sensible pumps crunching gravel, sunglasses perched like a crown on her perfectly coiffed bob. "Mr. Harlan," she cooed, voice dripping with that faux sweetness HOA types perfect in board meetings. "We need to talk about these eyesores." She gestured vaguely at the weathered cedar fence posts my grandpa had hammered in back in '52. After coming home from Korea with nothing but grit and a GI loan. I wiped sap from my hands, eyeing her clipboard like it was a prop from some bad community theater. "Eyesores? These posts have more history than your cul-de-sac." Karen. Her lips pursed into that trademark smile that wasn't the one that said, "I'm being polite, but you're about to get fined. Community guidelines are clear, fences must be uniform vinyl. White. No taller than 5 feet. Yours look like they survived the Dust Bowl, charming, but non-compliant." I chuckled low. The kind that bubbles up when absurdity hits. "Karen. This land's deed predates your HOA by 7 decades. We're not part of your little kingdom." She tapped her pen rhythmically, like a metronome counting down to my doom. "Everyone contributes to property values. Dear. Outliers like you drag us all down." I didn't bite back hard, not yet. I just nodded, watching her sashay away, thinking this was just another petty power play in a neighborhood that pretended to be idyllic but choked on its own rules. Little did I know, she was planting seeds for a full-blown vendetta, one that would expose her as the real rot in the valley. Weeks ticked by, and the notices started fluttering in like unwanted confetti. First, a neon yellow slip taped to my barn door: "Unauthorized agricultural structures, remove or face $500 fine." I peeled it off, scanning the fine print about visual harmony, and laughed outright. Harmony? In a subdivision where every mailbox was identical. But folks ignored the guy down the street with a boat rusting in his driveway? I crumpled it, tossed it in the compost heap where it could at least fertilize something useful. But Karen wasn't done. Next came the drone, buzzing low over the rows like a mechanical mosquito, its camera whirring as it snapped pics of my irrigation ditches. "Safety inspection," the accompanying email read. Signed with her flourish. Safety? From what? Grapes plotting a rebellion? I waved at the thing, mouthing "smile for the birdie," but inside, I was cataloging. See? I'd grown up hearing Grandpa's stories: land doesn't bend to whims, it stands on deeds and determination. So I dug out the old title from the safe. Yellowed pages spelling out easements that made this plot untouchable by any neighborhood busybody. But Karen? She was escalating, her inspections turning into invasions. One afternoon, I caught her minion, a weaselly guy in khakis, poking around my tool shed. "Just ensuring no hazards," he stammered when I confronted him. "Hazards like what?" "My grandpa's rusty hoe." He scurried off, But the message was clear, she was watching. Waiting for me to snap. Meanwhile, whispers spread at the neighborhood barbecue I wasn't invited to. That Harlan guy's turning the place into a farm eyesore, pesticides everywhere. Probably poisoning the groundwater. Lies. Of course, we went organic years ago. But Karen's newsletter painted me as the villain. Her words slick as overripe fruit, concerns about unregulated farming practices threaten our serene community. I stayed silent publicly. Sipping coffee on my porch. Observing how her concerns masked something uglier, fear of anything that didn't fit her cookie-cutter vision. Neighbors averted eyes at the grocery store. One even muttering, "You should just comply. Man, it's easier." Easier? Maybe. But Grandpa didn't survive trenches for easy. I started jotting notes. Photographing her drone flights. Biding time like vines waiting for harvest. The pressure cooker hissed louder as autumn deepened. Leaves turning crimson like the rage building in hushed conversations. Karen amped up her game. Slapping a $2,000 lien on my property for non-compliant landscaping, code for vines that dared grow beyond her imaginary lines. This is ridiculous, I muttered to myself. But aloud? Nothing. I paid a visit to old Mrs. Ellis down the block. The widow who'd been hit with a lawn maintenance fine last year that forced her to skip her blood pressure meds. Karen's bleeding us dry, she whispered over tea. Hands shaking. But who fights back? She's got the board in her pocket. Not anymore. I thought. I started quietly rallying, a chat with the retired accountant next door, who grumbled about HOA dues vanishing into miscellaneous. "Let me see those ledgers," I said casually. Turns out, he had copies, sloppy ones showing funds funneled to Karen's consulting firm, which was just her basement LLC. Black humor hit when another notice arrived: excessive bird activity, install approved netting or fine. Birds? I laughed till my sides hurt. Picturing Karen tallying sparrows like some avian dictator. What's next? Taxing the bees? I quipped to my vineyard manager, Juan, who shook his head. She's loco, boss. But the Mickey Mouse rules had malice. Her drone now buzzed at dawn. Waking workers. And one inspection crushed a row of young shoots underfoot. Oops, her email read. No apology. I confronted her at the next HOA meeting. Keeping cool amid the fluorescent-lit hall packed with fidgety residents. Karen. Your guidelines don't apply here, check the county records. She beamed that plastic smile. Oh. Harlan. We're all in this together. Uniformity protects values, surely you don't want to be the sore thumb? Snickers from her cronies. But I caught eyes rolling in the back. Values? Like the community boat you bought with dues? I dropped casually. Her face flickered, just a twitch, but enough. She recovered with a laugh. Misinformation spreads like weeds. Dear. Let's focus on progress. Progress? Her beautification plan unveiled that night, turning my vineyard fringe into a scenic walkway with fountains and benches. This will elevate us all, she chirped. Projector beaming her sanitized sketch over my tangled reality. Neighbors murmured approval. Seduced by glossy lies. But I saw the hook, it encroached on my deed-protected land. That night, I emailed the state AG's office anonymously, attaching the accountant's scans. The satire of it all, her preaching community while pocketing pool cleaning fees for her private oasis, made me grin darkly. She was building her noose with every hypocritical memo. Tension snapped like overpruned branches when the climax hit under the harsh lights of the town hall. The AG's investigation had snowballed quietly, my tips, plus complaints from Mrs. Ellis and others I'd nudged, unearthed a treasure trove of fraud. Karen stood at the podium. Clipboard clutched like a lifeline. Voice pitching high as she defended her vision. These baseless accusations are an attack on order. I have connections. My brother-in-law's on the county commission. She jabbed a finger at me in the front row. That Vineyard relic is the real threat, unsafe. Outdated. Dragging down our pristine enclave. Murmurs rippled. But the AG stepped up. Unflappable. Sliding documents under the projector. Click, $15,000 in emergency funds wired to her cousin's landscaping firm, for work never done. Gasps. Click, receipts for a luxury SUV labeled HOA patrol vehicle. Laughter bubbled. Sharp and incredulous. This is contextual. Karen sputtered. Face flushing beet red. Eyes darting like a cornered rat. Normal reimbursements, you peasants wouldn't understand fiscal responsibility. The room erupted in chuckles. Her peasants slip unmasking the elitist under her neighborly facade. I leaned back. Arms crossed. As the AG deadpanned. Fiscal responsibility doesn't include yacht club memberships on dues. More laughs. Cathartic now. As her empire unraveled in real time. Deputies entered stage right. Badges gleaming. Karen Whitaker. You're under arrest for fraud and embezzlement. She shrieked. Heels skidding as they cuffed her. You can't. I'm the president, untouchable. Phones flashed. Capturing her meltdown, the smug queen reduced to a flailing meme in waiting. Neighbors who once cowered now hooped. One yelling. How's that for uniformity? I didn't gloat aloud. But inside? Pure. Hooting satisfaction as her clipboard clattered to the floor. Symbolic as hell. The hall thundered with applause. The air electric with overdue justice flipping the script. In the aftermath. As vines budded anew under spring sun. The valley exhaled. Karen's trial made local headlines, HOA queen dethroned in Vineyard vendetta. She got 2 years probation. Community service, irony of ironies. Cleaning public parks, and restitution orders that stripped her McMansion bare. Mrs. Ellis got her refund check presented publicly. Tears streaming as she hugged me. You gave us our voices back, she said. The HOA reformed, transparent audits. Term limits. No more drone spies. My vineyard. Officially conserved under state AG law. Forever beyond petty tyrants. I walked the rows one evening. Shears idle. Thinking of Grandpa. His land had weathered worse than one power-hungry Karen. Neighbors toasted at the next harvest fest. Glasses clinking under lanterns. Laughter free of fear. But as clips of her arrest looped online. Memes multiplying like her fines once did. I pondered the deeper rot. HOA rules protect communities. Sure, but when do they cross into control freakery? Was Karen the villain? Or just a symptom of suburbs choking on their own perfection? You tell me, in a world of nosy neighbors and endless bylaws. Who's really the outlaw, the independent heir or the clipboard crusader? Drop your take in the comments, did she deserve the cuffs? Or was the system rigged from the start?